let's go to, let me see here, Orlando from Texas. What's up, Orlando?
Hey, how's it going? I just have a question, right? Because I mean, I hear
Good.
the request to, for additional gun laws, and I definitely understand that. However, when it comes to banning and restricting, certain weapons, my question, I guess, to the host and to the guest is, what's your plan to protect your family in the event of a tragedy or an emergency, right? I commend you for mentioning the massacres that occurred. And more recently, right, even though it wasn't against the, Blacks in general, right, the uprising in Oregon, whether it was, they stormed government buildings, and there were over 4,500 burglaries per day. So as a family person, what would you do in the event of an emergency with those weapons being banned?
Orlando, but I don't think you heard Amisha or I say that there should be no guns in this country. I mean, in a perfect world, I would like that. It's not going to happen. But I think it's important to know how to shoot a weapon. I think it's important to have a gun license. I think it's important for protection to be able to arm yourself.
My argument is
I'll go back to Orlando, but this is where I get frustrated. Right.
Orlando, I feel like you heard what you wanted to hear. My argument was never to get rid of all guns. My argument is to get rid of weapons of war. You don't need an AK-47 to protect your family from a burglary, period. One, the high capacity of this weapon not only maims, it eviscerates the body. I don't think there's a full understanding as to how many pieces a body is in once an AK-47 is used. There's a reason why it's called a weapon of war, because they're usually only on the battleground in war-torn regions where you literally are having to fight multiple armies to survive. That is not the case in your home. Handgun use, again, has to be from somebody who does not have a record of violence, be it whether that is violence in the streets or violence in your own home. Handguns are often the most used, the most used method of practice to beat women, to scare women into submission, and to murder women in domestic violence situations. With that being said, I think that we have to have stricter regulations on who is able to have a gun, making clear that those who have, exhibited strong, breaks with reality, those who do have those certifiable mental health issues that would make them a danger to themselves or somebody else. Because again, suicide is very high, particularly amongst those who use handguns to kill themselves. We want to make sure that there's no access to that. In addition to, again, getting these weapons of war and the proliferation of guns off the streets. Not saying that people should not or cannot have a rifle for their hunting or whatever the hell they're doing with them. But I do think that there is something to be said about these weapons of war, these weapons that create mass chaos in our streets, these weapons where even if you have a full force of police officers outside, those officers have handguns. They do not have AK-47s. Going into a match with somebody who can blast off 16 to 25 people in under 30 seconds is a very dumb idea. And I think that the idea that, there's a police force that can match that argument should be lost on Americans, because that's not how this works.
And Amisha, to your point, and then I'll go back to Orlando, then if you're worrying about somebody breaking into your home, what's going to happen is the criminals are going to get access to an AR-15. The criminals are going to get access to a semi-automatic assault style rifle, weapon, whatever it's called. My ask is, at the bare minimum, the assault weapons ban that we had up until 2004 that expired under Bush, let's reinstate that at a bare minimum. So no one's saying that, don't protect your family. No one's saying any of that at all. What we are saying is that there are people, and then there are politicians who are allowing more access to weapons of war. You cannot buy a flamethrower in this country. You cannot buy a grenade in this country. It is illegal. Why? Because it is a weapon of war. So no one is said on these airwaves, not Karen Hunter, not Larry Favors, Karen Hunter, who has a gun, I believe, and not Joe Madison. No one's saying nobody should have a gun. But these weapons of war are dangerous, and they make our lives. Because if somebody breaks into your home and they have an AR-15, and you both have AR-15s, it's just going to be the OK Corral, and that's where we already are. And then what if they have body armor? I mean, so nobody is saying that, and I get frustrated when we're trying to offer sensible ideas, and it goes to, What about protection?
Or the idea that just because there is a gun in your home, it automatically means that you're able to offer a level of protection. Again, this is not a video game. Most people in real time activation, if somebody breaks into your home, they're breaking into your home. They're typically not doing it in the daylight when you're the most alert. They're doing it at night or at a time when they feel like your guard is going to be down. The idea that all of a sudden every actionable part of you is going to react in that way, and you're going to go out and you're going to be able to find your gun in the dark, and all of a sudden you don't know how many burglars are in your house. You don't know this situation that you're going to be able to act in real time and save everybody in the home, or save your jewelry or whatever your prized possession is they're trying to steal. There are elements to this that do not happen in real world reactionary time, where split second decisions could mean your life. Most people who are attacked who actually have a weapon still end up getting attacked. It does not stop the situation in progress.
And also, I want to remind people, then I'll give you a final comment, Orlando. This shooter at 18 years old bought two guns reportedly shortly after his 18th birthday. And guess how he was able to get the gun? Reportedly on a credit system. On a credit system. Not a credit card, but an actual credit system where basically he got his firearms from a gun manufacturer that literally offers a buy now, pay later financing plan. There should not be a buy now, pay later financing plan to buy a weapon. That is lunacy. Orlando, final comment.
Thank you. Yeah, so to respond, right, there are several points made that I would have loved to respond to. However, number one, right, the comment you made about criminals getting access to guns. Well, obviously, according to law, if you're a law-abiding gun owner, you're supposed to have those locked up, in which most people do that are law-abiding, where the criminals can't get to it. Also, my first question was a plan, correct, right? A plan, as the guest mentioned, so you can access what you need to access in a time of need. A plan that's practiced, a plan that's rehearsed, a plan that should be rehearsed with your family in the event of emergency. So so for law-abiding citizens was really my take, right? Regardless of how you feel on which side of the coin that you're on, right? Everybody agrees they don't want weapons of mass destruction or whatever the case may be. However, what you have is what you deal with, and you should act accordingly according to the law. That is all I'm saying.
But Orlando, I hear you, but how did you get that we didn't already say that? I'm just curious to know because you said, what about protecting family? So I'm just curious to know from a listener perspective, maybe we're doing something wrong. How did you get that we didn't already feel that way?
Absolutely. I appreciate that question, right? It's more of the rhetoric around it, right, is what I'm saying. So when you say, and these may be true statistics of what you're saying, but they're not taken into context when you're saying, well, this should be done, or this weapon is used for this particular purpose, and we don't need that, or the comment about certain types of weapons are used in certain types of situations. Okay, got it, understood. However, the general use for the weapon is for protection. That is all I'm saying.
The general use for an AK-47 is not for protection. I'm sorry. Like, I fundamentally disagree with that. Again, handguns are one thing. Rifles are one thing. An AK-47 was designed and created for one purpose, and it was to kill as many people as possible under a certain amount of time. Again, we call it a weapon of war because that is what it is. Not designed.
That's what it was designed for. It was designed for war.
Period. Like, point blank.
Yeah. So AK-47. Those style weapons were designed for war. So thank you for your call, Orlando. Let's go to Russell from North Carolina. What's up, Russell?
Hey, what's up, Clay? I just want to comment on that dumbass Orlando. You don't want to really be shooting no damn AR-15 in your fucking house. Because if you miss the person, even if you hit him, the round can go through him and probably through your kid's wall and hit one of them. The best gun in a household to have is a shotgun. So that way you have a better chance of hitting the person you're aiming at, and the balls ain't gonna go through the person and go through the next wall and kill one of your kids, dumbass. Thanks, man.
These are people who just honestly don't understand how. I hope Orlando does not have access readily. These are people who don't understand how guns like that work, because the caller is absolutely correct. It does not pierce through a person and stop. This bullet's gonna keep on going. I don't think that their recognition is fully there. It is used to pepper through and blast through buildings and brick and wall as well. Like it is a weapon of war, and it's called that for a reason.